Carla's Dreams, 1971, 1976. House with other room that is a chapel, pulled from room to room, mockery, long solemn funeral, shadows of trees pulling me, soft earth, they took the casket away. Walk with Bessie along quiet country road. All the people are sleeping. We walk and talk together until daybreak. Then she has to go back. Walking with Noah in crowded city, evening. We're dressed in dark clothes. The sky is dark with rain. We cross many intersections, holding hands in silence. We come to an old stone church. It is cold and empty. Long, long silence in dark shadows. Small faceless choir chants evensong. They do not see us. We know that they sing whether anyone comes or not. Visiting Emily at their family home in the evening. She tells me about the boy next door who's demented. Kathy comes briefly and plays a duet with Emily. Bessie is hobbling about in the next room. She has a newly set broken leg and is wearing a grey floor-length apron with a raw egg in each pocket. Rosa comes and goes. Mom feeling bad with excruciating pain in her neck and head. We're sleeping in a tent in the city square. It's raining and cold. A lady comes and tells us to go away. I meet Bill at a bus station. He comes with me to Head Start. Many people are assembled in an old auditorium. The speaker tells us we've been defunded. I want to speak with Bill, but he's asleep now. He will be leaving with his unit for Saigon. Bessie will meet him in Bristol. I don't have money for a ticket for myself. We're waiting for the bus in the middle of the night, standing in the dark, cluttered space of all-night garage. The windows are clouded with grease. Light flashes on all the windows. The bus comes and leaves quickly. I am alone. Middle-aged strangers drive in the early morning while it's still dark. Mom is in the back of the car. I can't see her face. They tell her I'm dead as they drive her to the mental hospital. With you at the cabin, shouts come from the base of the mountain. Fire begins to smolder and crackle through the trees. We are trapped, wandering on an ocean shore with you and with Mark. The shore forms a crescent holding the shallow water in marshes. Great dark leaves grow alongside the inlets making secret places and marking them as protected spaces. We start out together. We trace the shoreline. You and Mark go into one of the inlets and sit under the shadows of leaves. The water comes up to your feet. I must keep walking. Something is driving me. I don't understand. I trace all the inlets. With you exploring a city, we find Bessie standing in a doorway, smiling. She says, "I've got plenty of room. Won't one of you come stay with me? I don't like to sleep in my dead mother's bed." No answer. She leaves. You are with her at her house. I see your green coat hanging on the door, and know you will sleep there. I want to come to you, to sleep with you in the deathbed. Precious comes wearing white shoes. She speaks in short, clipped phrases. She's smiling but says she's very hungry. I go out of the house to find some food for her, but all the stores are closed. The road is dark, and I don't know where I am. I stand alongside the highway and signal the truck drivers. The third truck is loaded with cat food. I return with the food for Precious. It's now the middle of the night. You are holding Noah and Eva. The three of you lie sleeping before an open fire on the floor. From the doorway, I watch you breathe. I want to be with you. You sense my presence. Rise up and tell me to go away. I start down the long, open corridor. Alone on a silver train. Alone on a silver train, coming into a city over an arching bridge, lowlands and marshes below. The tracks divide in a wasteland. After a long while, the train approaches an abandoned station. The train slows but doesn't stop. A young idiot standing there waves to me and keeps waving until the train is out of sight. Dawn-dead fish in sunlight on the pier in Fair Hope. Crossing over lines between countries, Mom and Mark and I enter an abandoned cabin in deep woods. The rooms are empty, the floor bare. Shutters are slamming. There is no light. We move from room to room in fear. In the distance, across the field, soldiers are running away from the cabin. Mom and Mark follow me into the last room, where there's a pool of fallen blood. Somehow I know immediately that it is Bill's blood, that he's dead. Mom doesn't see the blood. Silently she walks through it toward the door. Running to you across an immense field, tall grass waving. Your back is turned. You don't feel me coming. Thousands of people confined in a modern building. The roof forms arches. Halls lead from the center. Intricate and secret passageways. Walls of glass and steel. Loud crashes. The building breaks open. Dances in a vicious whirlwind. The people cry out as they die. Long and empty halls echo with their moans. Crawling, I feel I can't make it. My body is so heavy. Outside, everything is still in the night air. Then I realize it is because I can no longer hear. I try to crawl away. A coal red electrical wire falls from the sky. It burns and paralyzes me. I hear their voices, cannot reach them where they are trapped. You say with real tenderness, "I'm sorry I have to do this, Carla. I'm really sorry." Somehow, when I look into your eyes, I understand, but then it starts. You whip me with a wide leather strap. I try not to cry. I beg you to stop. I keep begging. I can't. I can't raise up. Late afternoon, the sun is setting. I lie on the pier looking into a pool of water. The water clears. Walking over the ocean until nightfall. Going under the ocean, feeling the weight above us swirling. Having the weightless feeling of fear and of falling, afraid to fall over the edge. The heavy liquid is both water and air. The words come to mind. Aqua, aqua, aqua marine. Aqua, aqua, aqua marine. The sounds are drawn out mysteriously, like an incantation. We descend through a narrowing tunnel, spiraling downward. We must cross over. The ocean feels like a sphere. I don't know how I realize this, but we are crossing the center of the earth. On the transparent walls, fragments of faces appear. People are descending with me. Behind me, the strangers are stopping to look into the fragments. We are being pulled deeper and deeper downward. Mom and I stop before the same image. The soft, dark eyes look through us. Around them, the lines crystallize. Geometric shapes form. Lines going back in space come together, forming an octagon. The face of Christ appears slowly in the foreground. The receding lines become a city. The face is transparent. It begins to darken. I feel it will fade, but for the moment, the interior space glows purple with radiant light. Rabbit, winter, nightfall, deep snow, wandering in backyards that open into each other. I remember I'm supposed to be feeding the dogs. There is a dog on every doorstep. A little book tells me all about each different kind. At first I can't read it. Then, when my eyes adjust, I see it is all wrong. The small black dog that would have been the most difficult, according to the book, has a strange gentleness not possible in the others. I leave the guidebook in the garbage can. They are all fed now. I'm walking along an old broken fence dividing the lots. In the silence, far from house lights, I see a small rabbit in the snow. He burrows. I see his eyes in the moonlight. He stares without moving as I approach, closer, closer. He hops rhythmically, one hop beyond me, but doesn't run. We move together for a long distance, slowly. In a low voice, I'm saying to the rabbit, I think you're beautiful. I love you. That's all. I won't harm you. I keep saying, I love you, rabbit. I want to touch his soft white fur. I know all the while, at each step, that I'm selfish. I just want to see his eyes, close up. We stop, and he steps in the small black frying pan, which I use to feed the dogs. It still smells of the dogs and my hands. His eyes are green. I realize this is impossible, because he's a lost domestic rabbit. He should have pink eyes. It doesn't matter. We look at each other. I touch his fur gently, tentatively. He doesn't move, but his fur, which first appeared soft and warm, is wet and melting, cold, like feathers and snow frozen together. The fur disappears. Cold water from the fur overflows the skillet. His eyes glow like fire and close. The last snow melts from him. Beneath what was there, there's only a twisted, leathery lump. There are stitches through him in every direction, as though he had been pieced together and mended many times. A tanner stitches as though he was always only this skin. In the distance, I hear the yelping dogs. They're hungry again. Walking over the ocean until nightfall. Going under the ocean. Going under the ocean. Under the ocean. Swirling, swirling, swirling. Feeling the weight above us. Swirling, 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 swirling. Having the weightless feeling of fear and of falling, 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 and of falling, 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 and of falling. Having the weightless feeling of fear and of falling, falling, afraid to fall over the edge. The heavy liquid is both water and air. Water and air. Water and air. Water and air. The words come to mind. Aqua, aqua, aquamarine. Aqua, 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 aquamarine. Aqua, aqua, aquamarine. Aqua, aqua, aquamarine. The sounds are drawn out mysteriously, like an incantation. We descend through a narrowing tunnel, spiraling downward, downward. We must cross over. We must cross over. The ocean feels like a sphere. I don't know how I realize this, but we are crossing the center of the earth. On the transparent walls, fragments of faces appear. Fragments appear. Fragments of faces appear. Fragments of faces appear.
Fragments of faces appear.
Faces appear. Fragments appear. Fragments appear, fragments. People are descending with me. Behind me, the strangers are stopping to look into the fragments, into the fragments, into the fragments. Fragments appear, fragments. Behind me, the strangers are stopping to look into the fragments. We're being pulled deeper and deeper downward. Mom and I stop before the same image. The soft, dark eyes look through us. Look through us. The soft, dark eyes look through us. Around them, the lines crystallize. Geometric shapes form. Lines going back in space come together, forming an octagon. The face of Christ appears slowly in the foreground. The receding lines become a city, become a city, become a city, become a city. The receding lines become a city. The face is transparent. It begins to darken. I feel it will fade, but for the moment, the interior space glows purple with radiant light. With radiant light. With radiant light.
Basta non ti fedele. Sì, sì.